I had talked about miracles before, and there's been a lot of calls about miracles lately, and we actually had last time I was on, I had a call from a guy who was promoting some sort of probabilistic argument for the resurrection, and ultimately he was referring to a paper that was about miracles, and he sent that to me. And so part of today's topic is kind of a refutation of at least part of that paper. It's one of those fractally wrong things. It's sort of like wrong everywhere, but this is certainly something that is separable from the paper itself. And
cool.
This is show number 65, if you're keeping track. Some people...
It's failure number 65.
Failure number 65.
It's show number
10 million.
24th, 23rd season and something or other.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So some people believe that miracles are evidence of God, and I want to explain why that's not the case today. And some people think that multiple miracles are even more convincing evidence of God, and they're not. So that's kind of the gist of the show. A miracle might be defined as a specific event that would not have happened if only the natural order had been operating. This is from that paper, by the way, and that's a reasonable working definition. But these things are truly rare, and truly unexplained, and truly not reproducible.
Can I jump in?
Yes, please do.
So that operating definition, go through it one more time.
A miracle might be defined as a specific event that would not have happened if only the natural order had been operating.
Sure. So what caught me is that you said these things are rare. Now, I would say they're so rare that they're non-existent, because is there ever a demonstration that the natural order wasn't working? The fact that something happens that you don't understand doesn't mean the natural order was not working.
That's right. In fact, one of my lines here is, I know no case where the natural laws have been
How would you even prove that?
Well, I know of none, right? So
no, but I mean, how would they prove it?
How would they prove it?
Oh, hey, here's a case where the natural order wasn't working.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you know of a case where the natural order wasn't working that would fit this, please call in and tell us not only what it was, but how you know that the natural order wasn't working.
But what is really going on here is that what we're getting are stories about events.
Right.
And the listener has no way of knowing what actually happened, and the listener being us. And so there's sort of an implied argument from ignorance here that if you can't explain this miracle, God must have done it.
Yep.
That seems to be the kind of the way things work. And unfortunately, the same reasoning, I'll put that in scare quotes, works with the invisible pink unicorns and magic farting sky pixies, or whatever crazy thing you want to have is responsible for this. So I have a better definition, which I think is, I encourage folks to kick the tires and see if it's any good. It's an unconfirmed or unconfirmable story about a mysterious event that is used to market God.
See, now that though. So you've gone this is me just being pedantic.
Okay.
But that can't be the definition of a miracle. That can't, your new definition can't be a miracle is a story about something,
okay.
But because the story is not the miracle. It's, a matter of fact, stories about things that people think are miraculous are anything but miraculous. They're mundane. They happen all the time.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, you got me there.
Maybe.
But this definition fits a wide variety of religious claim miracles, and I invite the audience to send me counterexamples. I want to explore this definition a little bit today.
Yeah, calling about something that's a miracle that is not just a story that you don't have an explanation for, but some evidence for something and how you determined that it was miraculous and not just
that would be a one way to do it.
Unknown or misunderstood.
Yeah, but we're gonna hit some different angles here.
Cool.
Let's see. And as you said, the miracles abound, right? And so one of the key issues here is unconfirmed. And something that is truly unconfirmable is not evidence of anything. It's just a mystery. And at worst, it's a con. So it's really sort of something that's unexplained and doesn't act as an explanation for God, doesn't provide evidence for anything. And there is also the category of confirmable but unconfirmed, meaning that with some investigation you could find out more. And in some cases, the information is intentionally hidden by people who are doing the marketing. And in some cases, it's just because the people listening to the story are lazy and they don't go and explore it. So unconfirmed can be a lot of different things here. And let's come up with a couple examples. So hidden information or laziness examples. Well, Mary in the Bible was a virgin due to a mistranslation that became ossified dogma.
I'm pretty sure she was a virgin because that's the way she was born, except that virginity is a social construct that's absolute bullshit. So, but go ahead.
Well, the original story was she was a young woman who bore a child, and because of a copying error, she became a virgin who bore a child, and the religious dogma ossified around this, and this is sort of a well-known problem.
Except, sorry.
What?
So I'm just going to keep interrupting you all day.
Please do.
I'm not convinced it's a copying error. Matter of fact, I think claiming that it is a bit problematic because where we mostly get that is in the book of Matthew. And Matthew is desperate to have Jesus fulfill as many prophetic things as he can dream up or imagine. Mm-hmm. And so you've got the passage in Isaiah where there's a possible translation error where something that was originally young woman was translated as virgin. And then, is that the copy error that you're talking about that Matthew then kind of lifted to do virgin? Okay. I thought you were talking about a copy error in Matthew. It could be a copy error. At least we can't show that it's not.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay,
but how much more likely is it a copy error versus an actual miraculous virgin birth?
Well, that's the problem because, no, because this is why I asked this. If the copy error is in Isaiah, then the real question is how likely is it that it's a copy error versus Isaiah was speaking about a virgin? Because Isaiah doesn't speak about a virgin birth in that sense. So, so this is, you're kind of conflating what happens in Isaiah and Matthew.
Okay, I got some more.
I'm just trying to stem off the first year Bible college students who are like, whoa, hang on a minute, it could be this here. Yeah. You're right, though. When it comes down to, is it more likely that somebody made something up, there was a translation error, there was an attempt to fulfill prophecy, or an actual virgin woman gave birth to a divine child? We know which one of those is more likely.
Right. Okay. I happen to be a little bit of an expert on the Guadalupe and Juan Diego mythology. Armchair expert, how about that? And we know for a fact that the Juan Diego's cloak was a painting. It was done around 1550, and it was based on Spanish imagery that came over from Spain, and I've done some research on that. And the cloak is a basis for a big money-making scheme today. In 1888, the cloak was repainted, and there was a miracle. It was a miracle that the cloak hadn't degraded since the original. Imagine that. Okay, you have you replace one painting with another painting, and the new painting is undegraded. Isn't that a miracle? It's another miracle that they removed the crown off of her head between the two.
So wait, there was one painting, and somebody made a new painting, and the new painting is different, and they're claiming that it didn't degrade.
Okay, well, I'm not giving you the whole story. The whole story, the original miracle claim was that Juan Diego wore this cloak and gathered up roses that had bloomed in December when they weren't supposed to bloom, and gathered them up and showed them to a bishop. And as he dropped the roses, this image appeared on his cloak. That's the mythology around it, but it's really a painting, and there probably wasn't even a Juan Diego. Okay, this cloak was made of a cactus fiber that was supposed to have decayed over the centuries, but it hasn't decayed, and it's claimed to be a miracle that it hasn't decayed.
Okay.
So. Okay. And then it was also a miracle that the crown disappeared from this cloak, the crown on Mary's head.
Wouldn't that be decay?
There you go. But
solved it. Next on Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay, So the gist of it is that this whole Juan Diego thing is pretty much a scam, and pretty much a money making mechanism for the Catholic Church, and it's full of holes as far as all their miracle claims. There's even a miracle claim that some ophthalmologist looked at the eyes of the image. Okay, ophthalmologist, eyes of the image.
Okay.
Yes, you should be scratching your head by now, and found that the image that he saw in those eyes was of the bishop, that supposedly, as if it were like a photograph. Anyway, it's truly hilarious.
No, wait. So there's a painting that has eyes.
It's a painting that has eyes.
And an ophthalmologist looked at it.
Yes.
And determined that those were the eyes of somebody else.
No, that the eyes themselves had a reflection in them of this miraculous event of the cloak being revealed to of Juan Diego, effectively.
So basically, the ophthalmologist had watched so much CSI where it was like zoom in and enhance this sector.
He was Catholic.
But he saw there was an image reflected in the eyes.
According to him, right.
Okay. So he's in his brain doing the isolate sector 1 and zoom in and enhance thing. That's bullshit, by the way.
Like that, yeah. Okay. And when you zoom enough, you get a lot of white noise.
Yeah. And it looks a lot like a miraculous vision.
Yeah. Okay. Another Catholic miracle was Mother Teresa. She's now a saint, and as part of that process, there were some miracles associated with her. And the first miracle was that a woman with tuberculosis was treated for tuberculosis by her doctors. Meanwhile, she prayed for a cure to her cancer, and which she did not have, and later was cancer-free.
So when I was a kid, like
it's a miracle.
On late Friday nights, there was that old joke of the guy standing around with a banana in his ear, and he's like, why are you standing there with a banana in your ear? And he's like, it keeps the elephants away. And there's no elephants around here. See, it's working.
Yeah.
Hey, I prayed for a cure to the cancer that I didn't have, and I don't have cancer.
Okay. Woo. Right. All right. I'm going to skip one here. If a typical miracle is just a partially hidden fraud, what does that say about the rest of the miracles? And what does it say about the people promoting them? And the answer is it's marketing. And the marketing thing is kind of interesting. In every single one of these miracle stories I've heard has been about marketing God of some sort, or marketing the religion. And in the following examples, notice that unverifiable things that don't have a marketing angle are not miracles. So the next group of things will be things that are unverified. They don't have a marketing angle, and so they're not considered miracles. Okay. From the Bible, Lot impregnates both of his daughters, despite allegedly being too drunk to notice they were bouncing on him. And I would say that's a miracle.
It comes close.
The natural order of things, the male anatomy just doesn't work that way. If you got somebody bouncing on you,
evidently they hadn't heard of whiskey dick yet.
Right, whiskey dick. That's right. Lightning hitting churches, but less frequently brothels. That's not a miracle.
Well,
for some reason.
To be fair, there are probably more churches than brothels.
Yeah, and churches are built on higher ground and these sorts of things. UFO sightings, not miracles. Let's see. Child molesting Catholic priests have rarely gone to jail for their crimes. Not a miracle. There's one that hit me because I was in the Bosnia and Croatia area. There's a shrine there called Medjugorje. And it's interesting in that there's a couple of people who were kids back in the 60s and 70s and who are now in their 50s, they're my age, and they regularly get Marian apparitions, supposedly. And these people are still doing that, and it's a big Catholic thing. And what's interesting is that the Catholic Church is kind of hemming and hawing about whether this is a miracle or not. And I think it's because they're not making money from it yet. They're kind of iffy on this and saying.
But alternatively, if they could find a way to make money from it, I think it would be declared a miracle.
That's right.
J.C. Eberhard and I debated a couple of people who were Mariologists, and they were experts.
Oh yeah, it's
in
interesting
Mary.
stuff.
I don't know if they got visions or not, but
okay.
But they were experts in Mariology. By the way, I have a slight correction. I misspoke a minute ago when I was talking about Isaiah and Matthew. So first of all, it's Matthew and Luke that talk about Mary being a virgin. And when I said Isaiah doesn't really talk about a virgin giving birth, what I was trying to say is the passage there, under most reasonable interpretations, talks about a young woman giving birth to a son, and his name shall be Emmanuel, which isn't Jesus.
Right. Yeah. So there's another little wart on that whole thing too.
Yeah.
One more thing on this group of people who are claiming Marian visions. They actually get messages from Mary, and all of the messages are drivel. Here's one: little children, pray, pray, pray.
That's the whole message?
That's the whole message.
From Mary. Mary, Mary, why you bugging?
Yeah, right. Okay. We talked about miracles. What about multiple miracles? Well, if there's a financial incentive to promulgate a miracle, there's going to be more financial incentive to promulgate multiple miracles. And so more miracles are just more marketing. And because a miracle is not evidence of anything, multiple miracles are not evidence of anything either. The quote is, "The plural of anecdote is not data."
The other thing to remember is that we're not talking about multiple miracles. We're talking about multiple claims about miracles.
Yep. So yeah, definitely don't buy it. Check out the claims first, and even without a financial incentive, miracles are memes, which have their own reasons and mechanisms for promulgation. So think of X-Files playing into alien abduction stories, right? And what the little green men look like, or gray men. Gray. Yeah, got to fix that.
I'll send them to you.
So miracles are are wholly unconvincing to atheists. They should be unconvincing to everybody. Anybody trying to sell you something based on miracles clearly lacks anything more substantial, and they are working a con. And Christianity certainly relies heavily on miracles, and that's a failure of Christianity.
Amen.
Amen. Let's take calls.